Hi viewers, another episode of Guest with Nazir. We're honored. We have a business mentor, teacher, and a lot of things with his CV, Mr. Mohammed Irshad Akbar. Welcome in our show.
Nazir Bhai, thank you very much for inviting me to your show.
So please, Irshad, tell our viewers about your childhood and early days, and especially when you moved to Sheffield.
Okay, I was born in Pakistan, 1954, so it's quite a long time ago. We left Pakistan in '59. In November '59, we came to the UK. All I can remember that time was it was cold. It was snowing. And I think that what I can remember very vaguely from that time is that we actually went from the village by truck to Karachi. And Karachi, I think, I don't think at that time there were any planes from Islamabad or Rawalpindi at that time. So basically, we actually then went from Karachi, went to Heathrow, and my father picked us up from Heathrow, myself, my elder brother, my younger sister, and my mum. And we actually then came on the train to Sheffield, and we landed on Ashcliffe Common.
So, how you differentiate today's Britain and that time?
Well, there's a big difference, Nazir, by a very big difference. I think at that time, Sheffield was the hub of steel. And we can recall that we used to live on Ashcliffe Common, and with the foundries, and with the actual steelworks there, you could hear the thud of the hammer, all night long, all day long. But it was actually high activity. There was a lot of togetherness. Everyone was together. Everyone was wanting to help each other out. We lived at that time in a terraced house, and we had a yard, and everybody in the yard, there were about 6, 7 houses in the yard. We're all together, talking to each other, helping each other out. And there was, we had very little issues, at that time.
Please share your experience about how you integrated in the society, and especially it was a big journey for you because the first barrier you came across must have a linguistic barrier.
English, of course, was not my language. When I came here, I knew nothing at all about English. I was only 4 years old. So even Urdu for me was difficult, and I was learning our community language. I think when I went, our school was actually Carbrook Infant School, which is actually still standing now. And it's now the Glebe House next to the arena. And I was fortunate that actually the head teacher took me under her wing. So when I used to go there, first of all, forget the classes, she took me in her office, and she was teaching me English. And I can remember, I remember the first word I spoke in English was, someone knocked on the door, and I said, "Come in." So straight away, she says, "Wow, you've spoken English," and that's how I gradually developed my skills. And from there, then I went on to actually Carbrook Juniors, and then I went on to Thursdale School.
So, in qualification, what level you completed at that time?
Well, basically, the problem was at school. We all have the ability, but it's the attitude that's important. And because I was into sports, like football, cricket, anything at all, I would play sports. So my mind was not on education as such. So when I went to that's Old Lane Comprehensive School, Old Lane Secondary School, in 1970, everything became comprehensive. So we were the first year of Earl Marshall at that time to actually take CSEs. So I took my CSEs, and I got 1 4 and 5 5s. But the 5s really were actually not in the current grading system. It was very poor. I just managed to actually, just to pass. But to me, it didn't matter, because at the end of the day, I got a job as an apprentice. I went to college, and that's when I started developing myself and actually saying, actually, education is important. And it was when I was at college, that's when I started to work hard, because it was vocational. So because it's vocational, Nazir Bhai, you can actually apply your theory to your practice. And because I could understand it, that's how I developed myself, and that's how I managed to achieve my
You
qualifications.
mentioned practice. Please share that. What was your first job and how much you've been paid? It's a secret question,
No, no.
but I would like to
Yes,
share with
yes.
public and our
Yeah,
audience.
yeah. My first job was an apprentice heavy goods mechanic. So I used to work on lorries and trucks. I used to repair them. And my first wage was £7.50 per week, not an hour, per week. And I used to get 50 pence was all I wanted to last me the whole week. Rest of the £7, I get to my mum and she put it in the bank. So really, at that time, the cost of living was very, very minimal. And that 50 pence would last me, bus fares, what I want to eat, whatever. And it was a very good life, really.
Shad, how you see when you all of a sudden coming from a village of Pakistan and ending up in Sheffield, how was that time, race relation and community cohesion? How was that challenge?
I think when you're young, Nazir Bhai, there's no difference. Because at the end of the day, I suppose your mind is not filled with anything else. And therefore, when I came over here, I was mixing with kids who actually also their mind were not filled with anything about, this is, you're black, you're white, you're this, you're that, whatever. So really, I got on very well with the people who actually, were my classmates. I had no issues at all. We got on well. They helped us. We helped them. And it was very, very cohesive. I would have thought. Yes, later on there was. I mean, I suppose that time there was modern rockers, but that was actually that was to do with actually not. Not to do with the colour of the community. It was to do with actually with what type of music you listen to. But then in the 70s, that's when the skinheads came on. And that's when there was actually I don't think when I first came to UK, there was only one or two families around. By the 70s, we had the influx of migration with the Mangler Dam, being built, whatever. A lot of people came over, for economic reasons. That's when there was a lot of issues being created, towards the back end of '69 and '70, and that's when the skinheads came along. And then there was actually issues around actually, where is the Paki, therefore, which is, we can actually, go after them. And schools at that time, I'd left by then, but I was hearing from other people that there was issues in schools where there had to be segregation.
So it means it was your own, I will say, skills, how you tackle these things. And subsequently, obviously, when you are integrating in society, you understand the values of the society and you mix up.
Think of a donut. A donut is empty. So what you do is when you're born, or when a donut is dead empty, you put the jam in it. The jam is put in by an individual, or someone's working there. That's the same with a human being. When I first came here, I knew nothing. My mind was very clear. There was nothing in my brain other than what I knew in Pakistan, and when I came here, it was clear. And I also think at the same time, the kids actually who saw me, they didn't know who I was, they didn't know where I came from, and there was issues. Oh, he's from Pakistan, or he's from here, he's from there. That time it was togetherness.
This is a long debate. We will continue this one. But
it's amazing, which is I had no issues at school.
I'll move towards your main role nowadays. Okay. So how you are helping especially new businesses, and what are the good tips we can offer in today's show?
Yeah, I think in my current role, my role is to enable businesses who are starting up and match them with a mentor who's actually got experience of how they've developed their own business. But so when you're running a business, Nazir Bhai, it's very hard because you may have skills in one area, and think of a triangle. For the triangle to be in equilibrium, all three sides have got to be equal. If one side is short, it falls over. That's same as the business. In a business, on one side, you have the person. The person who's good at what they're doing, they've got the skills, they've got the ability, and they're very good. But on the other side, it's managing resources. On the third side, it's understanding customers' needs. Now, these are the areas that we help businesses develop on. Because when you're in business, you've got to be all things to all people. You've got to be the person who sweeps the shop floor. You've got to be the person who actually, does the bookkeeping. You've got to be the person who actually manages their time and money effectively. At the same time, you've also got to understand, why do my customers buy what I'm wanting? When I talk to businesses initially, when they first start up, I say, who's your customer? Everybody. I says, they're not everybody. What you're selling is something that's unique. What is your uniqueness, and how can we get that across to the customer? So what we do, we sit down with them and try to explain to them and try to get them to understand that, what is unique about their product, how it can add value, and which customers they should be targeting. And that is the essence of actually, of what we're trying to provide. But so we can give them all the other skills, of marketing, of accounting, or X, Y, and Z. But the key thing is that any business, so what business you are in, I feel that if you've got the passion, the desire, and most importantly, the perseverance, you'll succeed. And that's what I look at the person when I talk to them. I say, look, if you've got the passion and desire, which you all have, you've got to persevere. So the first 12 months of any business, you might make a loss.
How you see in businesses, especially because we can see both ends,
Yep.
one from consumer perspective,
Yep.
one is from business perspective. We are going to have a very big change, Brexit.
Yep.
How you see it, how it will affect the both sides of the business, consumer
Yep.
and also the businessman.
Brexit is an unknown quantity. Nobody knows what will happen in Brexit. Everybody's surmising what may happen. Everybody's saying this may happen, that may happen. My concern is that you don't repair your roof when it's raining. If it's raining, you wait while the rain stops and then you repair your roof. Okay? The same with Brexit. When Brexit was first mooted, and actually we had the referendum on Brexit, the business itself, because we've just gone through the financial crisis, so it was still difficult to know, because some people were still struggling where they were, what's happening, and to put Brexit in the mix as well, it just has a knock-on effect on businesses. So I feel most of the pressure of the Brexit will be on the consumer. So ultimately, the consumer has to pay, and that's where that's where I see that business will survive, but people will have to buy things.
But common man is thinking that if, let's say, we're coming out of EU, there will be some taxes from the EU. So it means these taxes will be directly affect the consumer. So at the end of the day, all the burden is shifting
To the consumer.
at the end level. So that is the consumer.
Look further. Think of VAT. Who pays VAT? It's the consumer. Business pays, but then they can claim it back again as well. So the consumer is the one who pays everything. The indirect taxes, etc., they pay. And that's going to be the same with Brexit, I feel. From my experience, is that what it is, the businesses will want to actually make a profit. They will increase their prices, and who will have to pay? You and I. And that is my concern.
Because you have experience in education, because of the shortage of the time, we are just focusing on few main topics. So the government, how good the government is doing in education, and are they providing any assistance to the schools who are working on the small community basis?
My concern is that education at the moment does not suit everybody's needs. Because, like I said before, education is the ones actually who've got the academic ability. So if you are academically minded, you will survive and you will achieve. If you're more vocationally minded, then of course the schools can't cater for that, and that's when the kids start being, there could be disruption or whatever, because they don't understand. They can't apply what they're being taught to actually, to
What's going on in their minds?
That's right. Yes. And so therefore, I feel that schools are failing most of their students. The government, through the cutbacks and the academies, have made it even worse. Because the academies, in my opinion, are there, but they're failing. And most of the academies are putting their chief executives, etc., are actually getting, huge salaries, but and the schools then some have got no money. That's one thing. Now, what can the communities do? One thing the communities have done, they've actually set up independent schools. As you know, where your daughter's been to one, and I think with independent schools, the pressure then is on the parents. But the parents then are actually saying, okay, they will work with the school to ensure that the children get the best education possible. And because of independent schools, in one sense, they have very little resources, but what they do have, they have the passion to work with a child. And I mean, I hope you don't mind saying this, but your daughter, she, in the GCSEs, she achieved fantastic results.
But today I'm
I know,
focusing only on you, not on me.
I'm just saying that's right. But that's evidence how what it is. You could have sent her to a state school, but because she went there, she not only has she got the understanding of the academic achievement, but also moral values. Also, and this is where independent schools can add value and advantage.
So, but these schools are obviously struggling with the funding and all this. How the business community, and especially when we say social corporate responsibility, how the businesses can come, and especially the big organization can come and help these schools.
And this is about sponsoring. I would love to work with businesses, and I've talked to some businesses, and they're interested in maybe sponsoring some of the things in the school. So, for example, I want an IT suite for the school, okay? So, a business can say, okay, we will provide the kit and the equipment, and we'll call it XYZ Business
Suite or something, whatever
exactly,
it is.
Now, that will add value, because that will give, like I said early on, the social corporate responsibility would be actually that they're contributing to the community and that they're living in. And that's something that I would love to look at developing, but it's all about time and working with the business. And the business at the moment, because struggling with other things, they don't see this as a priority. And I think that would be a very good way of getting engaged with businesses.
So how the government can provide sponsorship? Why not they can provide? Because at the end of the day, if these little schools or academies are assisting the government, because at the end of the day, the children are also responsibility of the state. But when these little academies and schools are helping them, so in a way they are helping the government.
Right. Again, I might be looking at it from a negative point of view, but I don't think that actually the government is doing anything to help the educationalist. In the old days, when I was an apprentice, we were educated, not trained. Okay. What I learned at that time when I was 16, they have very little relevance to actually my career. But I'm using it now because I learned at that time. What's happening now, you go an apprentice, you are trained, not educated. And that's where I feel is the government failing. So what it is, the government should put more emphasis on the education side of things, should be working with businesses to educate the young people. That's where the skill shortage, Nazir.
So what is the solution for, if, let's say, for a quick summary or quick solution, how you will suggest or give tips to the government how they can resolve this?
Have a 4 or 5 year apprenticeship that you had before. So somebody who comes in as an apprentice has a 4 or 5 year apprenticeship, where the actual the government and the trade associations, in various vocational training boards would support that the company and the colleges and the schools to help them develop. That's how I went through that phase. I was part of actually when I was doing my motor vehicle courses. They went through the Road Transport Industry Training Board. There's still boards exist, but because they don't focus on the apprenticeship now, and it's more about upskilling people, that's I think where we are failing.
We are struggling with the time, but I wish I could continue. What is your short message for our viewers?
I think the main message is that we've all got ability. We've all got actually, we've all been given some kind of ability that can actually help people with. So my message is give, but not to expect gain. Give, not to expect gain, because what that means is that you're giving from your heart. If you get benefit from it, fantastic. You don't get benefit from it, at least what you've got, what you've done is actually, you feel proud that you've helped somebody to develop.
Thank you very much, Irshad.
My pleasure, Nazir Bhai.
Viewers, this was a short summary and views of Irshad Akbar. In coming days, we will bring new guests, new personalities. Keep joining Sheffield Live. Thank you very much.